It's finally starting to get very cold out. Even here in sunny Northern California, it is considerably cooler out. And with that change of the year, now we're reaching the fun of December, the excitement and all that jazz. It also means the year's coming to an end. And with that, a time to think about what we've experienced, what we've done this year. So I figured it might be a great time to make a top 5 list of my favorite handhelds of 2024, because there have been some amazing handhelds to come out this year. And frankly, most of them came from Anbernic because they released like 8 handhelds this year, basically one every couple of months. So let's just jump right into this with number 5. The Odin 2 is probably one of my favorite handhelds of all time. And granted, it came out last year, but I didn't get my hands on it until this year, and it honestly is just one of the best all-around devices in terms of its power, performance level, and just all around its capabilities, and it's a great value for the money. To the point now that AYN has made 2 other devices very similar to this one in the Odin 2 Mini and the Odin 2 Portal, which is yet to be released, but all these devices functionally have the same core DNA of the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 2 with the same amount of RAM and storage configurations, just housed in a different form factor, whether that's supposed to be ultra portable with a nice mini LED display, or something larger with a high refresh rate OLED display. There is a version of the Odin 2 perfect for you. You just gotta decide which one that is. And for that, I do genuinely like it. It allows you to pick what's best for you, and the price difference between all the models isn't all that much, considering how different all of them are. And for that, and this is the most expensive device on the list, it makes a solid number 5. For number 4 on this list, I will be discussing the Anbernic RG556. And I've been on a bit of a roller coaster with the 556. I initially really didn't like this device because I didn't understand who it was for. Because if you wanted something better, you could just get the Retroid Pocket 4 at the time. And even still, it doesn't exactly make a lot of sense. But for certain people, this device makes an incredible amount of sense. Being overall physically larger with a nicer OLED screen and being almost just as powerful as the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, it does offer a decent value. This device uses the T6118 chipset, which is powerful enough to handle all the way up until GameCube and PS2 era gaming, which honestly is what most people want. And there are very few devices at this price point that come with OLED displays. So in the grand scheme of things, that actually makes the 556 very unique. And I sort of learned that over this year that the 556 does actually make a lot of sense, and it's a really good device for the money, mainly because of that amazing OLED display. It has aged remarkably well, and it offers decent enough performance where you probably won't be wanting anything any better than that. It's a very comfortable position if you still have one of these things, because nothing really out there offers a big enough upgrade without having to fork up a pretty decent amount of money. The only reason why I would think you would want to upgrade from the 556 is gonna be probably for Nintendo Switch emulation, but given the current state of that and how all over the place that has been with all of Nintendo's takedowns recently, I can understand why some people might not want to buy a device purely based on that. So for this year, the 556 continues to be an amazing device, and I will continue to recommend it for probably the next year to come. And for that, it makes a solid number 4. For number 3, I really agonized over this because it is an awesome device, but its new successors are also just as amazing. But with some of the sales I've been seeing, the Retroid Pocket 4 makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. At $135 currently, this is a tremendous value, only being a little bit weaker than the 556, but being sold for $50 less. And for me personally, I've always liked Retroid's design aesthetic, at least until the Retroid Pocket 5 and 5 Mini came out, because that completely just stole Aya's whole design aesthetic with that one pane of glass thing. There's a whole thing in the video that I talked about not too long ago. But other than that, the Retroid Pocket 4 has aged remarkably well. Dimensity 900 chipset, it isn't the highest end chipset out there, but it's still capable enough of handling all the way until the highest end emulation, excluding Nintendo Switch and probably Wii. But pretty much anything most people would want to achieve on these gaming devices. Hence, GameCube and PS2 is usually where a lot of these things max out, and usually where most people want to play their games anyways. I'm a huge fan of the design of this handheld. It is significantly more portable than the vast majority of other emulation handhelds out there, except, obvious ones like the Anbernic RG40XX and the A09 or A08 or something from Miu. Bear with me if I got that wrong, there are so many of these handhelds out there to keep track of. But outside of those other devices that have to make compromises for the sake of portability, the Retroid Pocket 4, to me, is probably one of the most portable, high-end emulation handhelds out there. It's very slim, it's very sleek, and offers a decent enough performance that it would be pretty awesome just to slip into your coat pocket and carry it with your day and pull it out whenever you wanted to play a game. That's pretty much the only reason why it's above the 556 is that I can't take the 556 wherever I go. It doesn't go with me in my coat pocket, it goes with me in my backpack, and it's a bit more of an ordeal. So if I'm just like going to a restaurant or going to make a quick errand to like pick up something from the pharmacy and just gotta sit for a bit, Retroid Pocket 4 is usually one of the things I have on me. So for that, the Retroid Pocket 4 is a solid number 3. For number 2 on this list, I did agonize over a bit because I feel like Anbernic doesn't deserve to be on this list twice, because there's so many other emulation handhelds out there, but gosh darn it, they do make some solid stuff. No matter how much I bemoan and despise their Linux-based operating system, the RG40XX H is one of my favorite handhelds that they've ever made. Using that same H700 chipset that we've gone to the point of being so annoyed when they release another handheld with that chipset, it's not even funny at this point. It is still a remarkable device. I really like the form factor, excluding the fact of its glowing analog stick rings. I despise that. It's a pointless drain on battery, and in the night, it makes my eyes explode. And all these other handhelds that have them, I also hate. I just didn't mention it. Rant aside, being able to pick up this thing for about 60 to 50 bucks is really nice. This is one of my most recommended emulation handhelds, purely based on the price. With its chipset, it can offer performance up until pretty much the N64, PS1, PSP era level stuff, and with some modded firmware or custom firmware from the community, you can get better performance for a lot of those systems. And overall, this is just a really nice basic emulation handheld. It's definitely a low-cost way to get into the community. And if you're considering to get your very first emulation handheld, I urge you to pick up something like the RG40XX H or any of the other XX line of devices, because they're pretty darn cheap, pretty much always come with games, and it's a great way to sort of dig in and really engross yourself in the community, because these things have massive community support. So that's why I think that makes it a solid number 2. I really thought about what number 1 should be, and I recently made a video about it, and that is the TrimUI Smart Pro. I made a video about this thing not even like a week and a half ago. I really liked this thing, and it's a device that has been mentioned in my comments fairly regularly since I very first started this channel. Not like the whole time, but like, you know what I mean. This device gets mentioned a lot, and I finally got the chance to take a look at one when a company that sells these things reached out and wanted to send me one for a video. And I accepted it because I thought it'd be awesome to finally take a look at this thing. And when I got my hands on it, this was an amazing device. I loved the form factor, it being pretty much just a slightly fatter PS Vita, making it pretty much the same size as a PS Vita 1000, but I only have a 2000, the slim one. So pretty much the same size as a normal PS Vita, just a little bit longer. And it even uses PS Vita analog sticks. This device is pretty good, and I actually quite liked its Linux-based operating system that it came pre-installed with. It even came pre-installed with a bunch of games on top of that. And with that was a bunch of Pokemon ROM hacks, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed because I have a really hard time finding Pokemon ROM hacks. They're kind of annoying to get your hands on, and sometimes you gotta like mod the game yourself, which is even more annoying. In this game, this device thing came preloaded with a bunch of those, and that was overall just really exciting. And with how much I love the form factor, and probably recency biased, I ended up really liking the TrimUI Smart Pro. And being able to get this thing for as cheap as $89, this is an amazing value. And please do bear in mind, recency bias does play a pretty large hand in this, because recently this has been my primary emulation handheld that I've been taking everywhere with me. It's small enough that I can take it with me places that typically don't warrant a handheld, and if I'm just popping out for like a day trip or something, this is the device I'm bringing, because it's a whole thing if I bring all my other devices. So this has just been simple, and I've been enjoying my time with it. So for that, it makes a solid number 1. I would love to hear what you guys think. Are you excited for the future of emulation handhelds? Are you interested in any ones I mentioned on this list? Are there any that I missed that I should check out? I would love to hear what you guys think down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other streamers down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.